Heyo, it's Omni Dog. Thanks for tuning in. A lot of times people have asked me, where do I start with Judge Dredd? There's so much material, and it's true, there are a lot of Judge Dredd books. So where do you start? First of all, this is just my opinion. There will probably be comments below saying you should have started here, you should have included this book. I get it. Everybody's got their opinions. These are the books that I think are the easiest way to get into Judge Dredd. There's only 5 of them. Well, I'm lying. There's 5, and I'm throwing a couple extras that are optional but important. But these are the books I think anybody can read and immediately know who Judge Dredd is. Now, Judge Dredd is a lawman in the future. It's a British satire on American life in the future. Judge Dredd is strict by the book. In these books, he is that way. This is the first part of the Judge Dredd series. I'm going to do how to get into Judge Dredd. And number 2 is going to be my complete Judge read through, doing everything that I've read. And then part 3 is going to be Judge Anderson and some other sort of tangential books. So Judge Dredd is very strict by the book. It's a satire. He lives in Mega City 1, which is a sprawling, huge area that takes up a certain eastern section of the United States. And then there's like Mega City 2 on the West Coast. There's Texas. And so he is in Mega City 1, which is crammed together with buildings upon buildings, just sky rises, and they're all named like Block Eddie Murphy or Block Suzanne Plachette, or these funny names. And it's a satire, but as it goes along, I think it changes. And once you get past these books, you see Judge Dredd a little more humanized. You'll see a little bit of it in these books. But as we go along, things change a little bit and really make Judge Dredd worth following. But for this video, this is how you can just go right to the store. I'm putting the book names in the description, and you can go, they're all in print, which is right now. That's June 14th, 2021. So they're all in print right now. They go in and out of print, but these are in print. And I think this is the best way to start. So this is how I started, and I feel like I got a really good flavor for Judge Dredd in the very beginning, and I was able to dive right into it, and I got a sense of what's going on. And the first book I read was Judge Dredd, The Complete Case Files 5. You could be a Case Files reader. There are like 36 case files, maybe more. But I think the only one necessary to read, my personal opinion, is number 5. These volumes are all in black. This volume is all in black and white. I think as they go further along, they get in color. These have top-notch artists and really great writing. It's John Wagner and Carlos Ezquerra, and a lot of times Brian Boland is in there too. And why I think you should start with this is because there is a large selection of different stories about Judge Dredd that include Judge Anderson, who's a telepath, and to me, the most interesting character in the series. And there's also Judge Death, who's from another dimension, and he's from another dimension, and he constantly plagues Judge Dredd in Mega City 1. He is from another dimension, and the crime is living, and the penalty is death. And he appears with his other 3 judges, Fear, Fire, and Mortis, and they cause terror and kill people. They can't be killed because, as Judge Death says, you cannot kill what does not live, and he hisses and stuff. So this book gives you a great sampling of a bunch of different stories of Judge Dredd. In this book is the Apocalypse War. But there's a better version of the Apocalypse War. It's considered a classic Judge Dredd story. So you're done with this book, which I will list. I advise you to next get the Apocalypse War. You can just stay with the black and white version, or you can get this really nice big color version of the Apocalypse War, which is, it starts with Blockmania, which is a story that has a guy who infects, all these blocks are built right next to each other, so they're very claustrophobic. And Blockmania is basically war between the blocks. A guy has infected the citizens so that they are warlike, and Judge Dredd has to figure out a way, along with the other judges. They are judges and juries alone. They sentence you and find you guilty, and you do time in an iso cube or a cube. So this has Blockmania, which leads into Apocalypse War. The citizens have been infected. They're attacking each other in blocks, and Judge Dredd and his fellow judges have to figure out a way to stop it. This leads directly into the Apocalypse War, which is basically Mega City 1 versus East Meg 1, which is the Soviet Union or Russia in the future. And it's what it sounds like. It's a huge war full of missiles. It's very long and interesting and takes many twists and turns, and Judge Dredd is right in the center of it. And I suggest getting this book because the artwork is brilliant and beautiful and deserves to be, it's such an important story that it deserves to be blown up in this size, in an oversized hardcover. So this would be the second book on your list. The first being Judge Dredd, The Complete Case Files 5. And this is the second book. This book leads, let me just say, this is how I read them. And so I think this is enough for you to read and understand and completely get Judge Dredd. The next book that I read was Judge Dredd America. Now this is an interesting story. I think this is one of the most interesting stories that I read. First of all, it's got, all of these Judge Dredd books have fantastic art. And this is a story about two friends, a boy and a girl, who get separated. They're lifelong friends, and they get separated at some point in their lives. And one of them becomes a famous singer, and the other one becomes a terrorist that Judge Dredd is after. And it's a very, very interesting story, which has a very really odd, unsettling twist right in the middle of it that is remarkable. But this is a great Judge Dredd story because of what the people go through. It humanizes the citizens of Mega City 1, and you haven't quite seen Judge Dredd get humanized, but I'm coming up on that. But this is an excellent story that shows the feelings and the lives of a couple of the citizens of Mega City 1, with Judge Dredd being after the terrorists. And let me show you something that my friend Brett got me, since he knew I was going to do this video. I have my own lawgiver badge, Judge Bragg. Let's see if I can get that My friend Brett had this made, I think, from a shop on Etsy. I can't get this to show. I guess you can sort of see it right there. Judge Bragg. So Brett, thank you. This was cool. Because that's what Judge Dredd wears. So that is a great gift that my friend Brett gave me. So back to America. One of the characters is named America. This would be the third book I would read. I did read. After this book, I read The Cursed Earth, and you need to get it uncensored. This is a huge book. The books that I will list may have changed into a new edition. I think 2000 AD is putting out essential editions, which is what this video is about. And I think some, if not all of these books have, except for Case Files 5, have essential editions. So the books may not look exactly like this, but make sure you get The Cursed Earth uncensored. And it's a satire. A lot of it's in black and white, but it's a satire about America because, and it was censored for a while because there's a lot of satire on American trademarks, and I'll get to that in a second. But Judge Dredd has a cure for a plague that is infecting Megacity 2 on the west coast of the US. And he has to go cross country. And in between these two parts of the US is called the Cursed Earth. That's where nuclear annihilation has wiped everything out. And the only thing that lives there are called the muties. And they are considered way second-class citizens. And they are mutated. And so this is all about Judge Dredd's trip from Megacity 1 to Megacity 2. As you can imagine, there's all kinds of trouble you get driving through the Cursed Earth, which is a desert of radioactive soil and citizens that are all mutated. And here's a cover that shows French fries that are actually weapons. So that's the flavor of satire you're getting. And let me show you why it was censored. Judge Dredd goes through a place called, I think, McDonald City, only they spell it MacDonald. And as you can see, people all worship McDonald's hamburgers. And this particular city is fueled by a burger war. There's a burger law. And here you can see McDonald's marauders gave them Burger King creeps a whooping today. I swear to you, my friends, we won't rest till the last Burger King diner has been wiped out. And that's what this clown is saying right here. So it's a satire that uses a lot of American icons, advertising icons, and makes fun of them. So I don't know how it was published censored, but this is how it was meant to be seen. And here's, this is one of the pages that's in color, and here's in black and white here at the end of one story, you can see KFC's Colonel, and then the American ad icons, the Jolly Green Giant and the Alka-Seltzer guys. And I think it goes on into the tire guy. I can't think of his name right now, but he's an ad icon. And so there's plenty of stuff that they make fun of as far as American ad icons, and that's why it was censored. It's a great story. It's extremely exciting. Great satire. Very interesting. Tells you a lot about Dredd, and I believe this is where Judge Dredd first gets he's very by the book throughout all the first stories. In this book, he starts to get a little twinge that maybe the muties shouldn't be treated that way. That's important because after these books, there's a whole huge arc about how has a change of heart about the muties, and so that's going to be important to know. Excuse me, if you decide to go on. So this is The Cursed Earth Uncensored, and it is not to be missed. It is really great. Then we come to, this is an important book, Judge Dredd Origins. This is actually about how Judge Dredd came to be, his birth. It starts out with a box being delivered to the Hall of Justice, and where the judges all are, and there's been a kidnapping of Eustace Fargo's body. He is considered the father of the law. The type of law type of law and justice that Judge Dredd and his other fellow judges have all been conditioned to believe is the right way. Well, it is the law. Judge Dredd is very strict. It is the law, and if you break it, there's no gray area. So they have to go, because Eustace Fargo's body's been stolen, supposedly. They need to find out more. They've been given a note where to find it, bring a certain amount of money. Judge Dredd knows something. I don't want to tell you too much about this, because if I do, it's going to spoil the story. But it is extremely interesting about what Judge Dredd's looking for, what Judge Dredd is, and the true nature of the law, because of this Eustace Fargo character that is considered to be the father of the current model of lawgiver, which is Judge Dredd. So everybody's up in arms that his body's been stolen, so they have to go into the cursed earth again, where the muties are, and they have to, I don't want to show you that page because it's going to tell you too much. But here again, Judge Dredd sees a lot of things happen to the muties and starts to feel a little bit different about them, which is very important for the future. So this is an extremely important book because it tells you the origin of the law, the current state of the law, why the judges are like they are, and how Judge Dredd came into being. So this is Origin, and it's the history of justice, because I don't want to spoil it, but it pulls back the curtain on things people have been told for a long time. And the art, as usual, is just brilliant. So those are the 5 books. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think there are 2 more that I can throw in that are equally fun and equally important. You don't have to get them. They're both in print, and they're both excellent. And to be honest, this was the first book I ever read on Judge Dredd, and that's Batman Judgment on Gotham. And it's by Alan Grant with art by and John Wagner, who wrote a ton, if not all, of the early Judge Dredd, and it's a Batman Judge Dredd crossover. This is like one of the most famous panels in comics. If I can get right to it, I should have. Yeah, there it is. Not only do you get Judge Dredd and Batman, but you get Judge Anderson, the telepath, and Judge Death, because Judge Death has crossed into the Gotham City dimension and is infecting people. And then you've got Batman versus Judge Dredd. It's unbelievable. And here's, I think, this is Judge Anderson looking into the mind of Batman. This has got to be one of the most famous panels in comics, I think, because it's looking inside the mind of Batman from an outsider perspective. And here she says, weird. And so two of my favorite characters, Judge Anderson and Judge Death, are in this book, and neither Batman nor Dredd is going to give an inch. Batman wants Judge Death out of his city, and Judge Dredd is busy sentencing Batman for various crimes. And so Anderson gets them both to work together so that they can stop Judge Death. And the art is just amazing. There are two other Dredd and Batman crossover books. They are all collected. This is the best one, in my opinion, but the other two are still good. And I'll have this one listed too so you can read it, because it is really fun. Great art. It's got Judge Anderson, who's awesome. And I just really enjoyed this book a lot. You can read this at any time. I don't know, after the first Judge Dredd book, go ahead and read this. And you can also read Judge Dredd Dark Justice. This has Judge Anderson, which is great. This is a beautiful book. Let me see. It is written by John Wagner, who I believe is considered the creator. Yes, Judge Dredd created by John Wagner and Carlos Esquerra. Judge Anderson and Death created by John Wagner and Brian Boland. Brian Boland is a big part of the Judge Dredd history. Now, this is a story of Judge Dredd and Judge Anderson as they... there's a spaceship that contains a passenger list of all the rich, a lot of the very rich people in the world who are off to a better life. The ship has every amenity possible, and Judge Death and his cohorts have gotten loose on this spaceship, and they have to, the two of them have to somehow get the dark judges captured. This book is really good because it's got great art. Judge Anderson is awesome in this story, and the art is just as remarkable as possible. It's by Greg Staples, and it's just gorgeous. This can be read at any time after you read the first book, because you'll already know who Judge Death and Judge Anderson are after you read the Complete Case Files, Volume 5. And so, those are the books you need to get into Judge Dredd. After you read those, if you want to go on further, which I advise, you can watch part 2 of this, which I'm going to put up in the next week or so. The rest of everything that I've read of Judge Dredd, and I will summarize every book and see if I can interest you in becoming a Dreadhead, like I obviously am. So I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to leave a comment. I'm sure I left out some books that people are upset about. These were the 5 to 7 books that I read that got me into Judge Dredd. I feel like I have a good knowledge of what Judge Dredd is about. And going forward, I've read a lot of Judge Dredd, and this prepared me perfectly for it. So if you want to know what Judge Dredd is about, these are the books that I recommend. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And peace and love, peace and love. Thank you for watching.